Hi everyone, Ghost Peppa here. So today we're going to look at my new version of Red-Eyes Kashtira. It's been about a year since I released the last version in TCG and quite a few changes have been made. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because that lets me know what you guys are looking for as a channel. Let's take a look. It runs 2 Red-Eyes Black Dragons, 1 Red-Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, 1 Red-Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon, 3 Kashtira Unicorn, 2 Kashtira Fenrir, 1 Red-Eyes Kashtira, 1 Scareclaw Kashtira, 1 Bestial Magnamut, 2 Red-Eyes Black Meteor Dragons, 1 Kashtira Riseheart, 2 Molcharmi Fuelos, 2 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Black Metal Dragon, 1 Metal Illusionist, 1 Triple Tactics Thrust, 1 Terraforming, 1 Triple Tactics Talent, 3 Pressure Planet Wraithsoth, 1 for 1, 2 Kashtira Birth, 2 Kashtira Theosis, 1 Called by the Grave, 2 Crossout Designator, 1 Max Metalmorph, and 2 Infinite Impermanents. And then in the extra deck, it runs 1 Zeus, 1 Typhon, 1 Dark Armed, 2 Red-Eyes Flare Metal Dragons, 1 number 76, 1 Dracosac, 1 Big Eye, 1 Volfernages, the Darkest Dragon Doom Rider, 1 Kashtira Shangri-Ira, 1 Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, 1 SP Little Knight, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Heraldic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres, and 1 Striker Dragon. So, as you can see, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a card difference compared to Master Duel, with a few notable changes. So, extra deck wise, things are very similar. It's a very Xyz heavy deck because the deck does eventually lock you into Xyz. The links are there to extend, and you can start your turn with links, but you will not be ending it on them after you've been summoning Xyz. So they're mainly meant for extension. We have Heraldic Seal, so I can search into Magnamut to search for a dragon. I can also, say, summon a Black Metal Dragon if they're going to board wipe, and then search out one of my Red-Eyes from that. It just has a lot of versatility with the dragon lineup. I can also search for Red-Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. If it gets sent to grave, I can use Heraldic Seal to bounce it back to hand and revive it from grave. So there's a lot of options there. IP Masquerena, SP Little Knight, obviously those are pretty de facto ways that you can interrupt during your opponent's turn. I can use 2 basic cards on the field, be that 2 Red-Eyes monsters, whichever, to make IP Masquerena, and then use a Kashtira that has already used its effect to make SP Little Knight during their turn when I'm not locked under Xyz anymore. Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos is a boss monster you guys have seen me use for a long time, but the key thing is it gets its effects based on if it was summoned using a level 7 or higher, which is very likely to happen in this deck as most are level 7s. Your opponent cannot target it with card effects. It cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And then when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you get to activate one of these effects. 1, it gains 1500 attack. 2, it can make 2 attacks. Or 3, it can banish a card on the field. This is a non-targeting banish, so it's an interesting boss monster that gives some removal on top of it. And then in the Xyz side, Kashtira Shangri-Ira. We only have 1. We can recycle it in the deck, but it's just to extend the Kashtira line, and we do summon this most duels. The Darkest Dragon Doom Rider of Volfernages. That one is removal, and also it buffs a card. So that is a way that you can get around a problem card. Say they have a really big monster, you can blow it up and then transfer that attack power to one of the cards you own, say Red-Eyes Black Dragon, Flare Metal, etc., whichever you like. Big Eye is just a steal. I can detach 1 material, target a monster my opponent controls, take control of it. This is always going to bait some interaction. It's going to prevent them from stopping other things if they choose to stop Big Eye, so it's just good interruption. Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac has 2 purposes. 1, so each of these are once per turn. I can tribute, so when you summon it, you detach a material, special summon 2 Phantom Beast tokens, okay, which is nothing fancy there. But Dracosac has protection while those tokens exist, number 1. Number 2, I can target the token, and pop a card on their field and that token. So that way I can get some removal on the way to a link climb. So I can then, after I do this, link summon using Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosack and the last token to make something like SP Little Knight, so I can instantly get another removal on top. You will not be able to extend into some of, well, you won't be able to attack with it after you use that, so it's better to use it for link fodder. Of course, if you're doing this as follow-up, you're trying to go into something later, and you don't want to lose the direct attack damage that SP Little Knight will prevent you from having, you can always go into IP Masquerena, or you can use it as material into Blackluster's Soldier of Chaos, because it just requires 3 monsters with different names. One of them in that case would be Dracosack, and the other would be the token, so you would just need a level 7 or higher, any of them. Gradiel, number 76, is a unique card. So one, it interacts with cards that are being sent to grave, so I can interrupt some plays, and also when I have any certain attribute equipped to it as an Xyz material, this card cannot be destroyed by the activated effects of opponent's monsters with the same attribute, which is really valuable, and also it can't be destroyed by battle. So if they have an unbreakable board that's not really super negate heavy, they can't interrupt with it that way. Sometimes I'll just make Gradiel using 2 level 7s, attack into whichever thing I want because they won't be able to destroy it, and then go into Zeus and full board clear. So it's a Zeus enabler in rank 7. Red-Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, very simple, can't be destroyed by card effects while it has material. You can detach one material, summon a Red-Eyes from grave, so it gives you good rank 7 extension. Also, each time they activate a card effect, they burn for 500 damage. Dark Arm, the Dragon of Annihilation, it is a detach one material, destroy one card on their field, okay? So you can actually get 2 pieces of removal from this, and also, as a secondary cost, when you detach material, you have to banish a card from grave. So a lot of Kashtira card effects get plussed off of banishing. I can take a Birth that's in grave, banish it, and then next I can banish a Kashtira Theosis in grave and get that Birth back to hand, so it gives me some recyclability. And that's also a way that you can recycle Shangri-Ira back to the extra deck because it is a Kashtira card. Outside of that, Typhon is just a non-targeting bounce. One thing to be aware of though, Typhon is a blanket negate of cards that have 3,000 or more attack. As is, it's fine. But if you go into that as a last ditch attempt to deal with something on their board, make sure you do not have Pressured Planet Raidsoth on the field, because it will give Typhon at least 100 attack, meaning that it blanket negates everything including itself, and I will not get the bounce. Something very important to remember with Typhon. Zeus is just a board wipe, as I said. It's very niche, but sometimes it will happen in key scenarios. As far as the deck goes, we do have a pretty heavy hand trap list. We have the 2 Imperm, the 2 Ash, those are explanatory. So Molcharmi Fulos is new. Some of you guys that follow the TCG and OCG, and most of you that are watching this video, will be very familiar with it. But for those that normally watch the content that play Master Duel, Fulos is essentially what Konami considers a slightly more fair Max C. So it can only be activated if you control no cards. That's part 1, okay? And then part 2 is each time your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck or the deck, you draw a card. Very explanatory, makes perfect sense there. It is not going to trigger when someone summons from grave, that type of thing. But there's one key difference here. So whereas Max C is once per turn, it's not going to double up. Fulos, you can activate up to 1 other Molcharmi monster effect in a turn. So having 2 Fulos is not a bad thing. I can double chain 2 Fulos to one another, and so every time they summon a monster, special summon a monster, I'm drawing 2 cards instead of 1. So all in all, it's a good card to have, and to prevent using Crossout Designator. Normally you see Crossout being used in a series of 3, but just in order to keep this deck as tight as possible, I'm only running it at 2 because I would like to see some of my other starters and extenders. And Called By acts as the 3rd interrupt in the pair, or in the trio, to stop any hand traps. Aside from that, the Kashtira cards, you guys know all about those. Kashtira Unicorn searches the Kashtira spell. It also, if one of their monsters activates an effect, I can banish a card from their extra deck. That gives me deck knowledge and also lets me basically interrupt or stop what they can do. Fenrir, I can banish a face-up card on the field. That gets around a lot of stuff. Say I can banish Mirror Jade. Since it banishes it face down, Mirror Jade's effect will not go off. So I can easily clear Mirror Jade, anything like that. Tearlament's Kashtira, I run it because when I summon it, I can send the top 3 cards of either player's deck to the grave. 99% of the time, I'm going to send my opponent's 3 cards from my opponent's deck to the grave so I can see what they're playing. Scareclaw Kashtira just prevents any battle phase shenanigans. It can absolutely lock out Tempai. Not that they need it anymore because they just got absolutely devastated with the latest ban list in December. But it just gives you more interruption there. Metal Illusionist, Full Metal, and Max Metalmorph are 3 new cards that were released as Metalmorph support and also Red-Eyes support. So the Trap card allows me to summon Red-Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon by tributing a level 5 or higher dragon monster. And Full Metal is an Omni Negate that also burns them for the attack damage of a card on their field, as long as it's in attack position. And with it being a main deck monster, I can easily summon it. I don't have to worry about the limitations of getting stuck in Xyz that comes with Red-Eyes Kashtira. So it's a great addition to this deck. It really helps with consistency. Also, Metal Illusionist. It's very easy because it can set a Metalmorph trap, so it's another way to search that trap. Both of these can search the trap. But it also then can make this card a level 5 creature of whatever type I choose, in this case dragon, so I can set the trap and tribute it for Full Metal. If I hard draw it, I want to summon it, easy to do. If I want to summon it off of 1-for-1, that's also completely fine, because its effect will go off if it's normal or special summoned. Magnamut is also a new addition to this deck. I run it because there are getting to be a lot more dark effect monsters in Grave, and also it's a very prime target off of Heretic Seal, because I will bounce a card on their field, non-targeting, summon Magnamut. Magnamut will give me a search for a dragon on my turn, so I can either search out Full Metal if I need it, I can search out Black Metal, I can search out Black Meteor, anything I need. The rest is pretty self-explanatory, so without further ado, let's get into the duels. Okay, so this turn we are going second. We don't have any good interruption in hand, but we have a lot of starters. They're playing Super Heavy Samurai, so we're going to have quite a few pieces of Negate to get through. Let's see what they can do. And of course, Super Heavy as a deck is pretty much dead because a lot of these negation pieces no longer exist. Barone is banned in TCG's format, as well as another card they likely are getting ready to summon, which is Borload. But during its prime, this deck would constantly end on Barone to floor, Borload, Therion, Sprite Elf, and it would also make Psyframe, as you saw there, to further interrupt the hand. And there's another Maxi. All great fun. So we have 2 key negates that we need to deal with at this point. So what I'm going to do, the first key thing you need to do is summon Kashtira Unicorn here. So Kashtira Unicorn will give me a search. They do still have 2 negates here. I'm going to try to get out Black Meteor Dragon because then I can force some interruption with my rank 7s. I really am not going to be able to pay too much attention to the fact that they max seed me. I'm just going to have to push through. They chose to negate, so that's 1 down. Kashtira Unicorn's effect goes off. They do not want me to mess with their extra deck, which is fine, so I was able to stop that. They had Ash Blossom in hand, so there's 1 more piece of interruption. Alright, so now, at this point, I still can play through it. So we have Kashtira Birth, and I also have Red-Eyes Black Dragon. So I'm going to normal summon Red-Eyes, and I need to get rid of some of their cards direly. So I'm going to go ahead and go Flare Metal. I'm going to use Flare Metal's effect, detaching Kashtira Unicorn to special summon a Red-Eyes. I'm going to use Tearlament's Kashtira to special summon and banish that Unicorn that I sent to grave. Kashtira's effect is going to go off. I'm going to mill them because I'm trying to force them into some punishment for all of the draw that they're getting. Now there you saw I sent another Ash Blossom and I sent a Ghost Bell, which is good to not let them have access to. Let's see if they have another. They do not. We'll keep continuing. Right here at this point, we are going to go ahead. We are not locked into anything as of yet. So I'm actually going to go into Draco Sack and climb that direction. Draco Sack's effect will activate. I'm going to detach Red-Eyes Black Dragon. Special summoning 2 tokens in defense, always just in case. Notice he only draws 1 card because those summons happen simultaneously. Alright. Now at this point, we have a piece of removal we're going to go into. I need that Sprite Elf gone. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it here. Alright. Now, at this point here, I need to further climb up. We need to remove this Baron to floor because it's going to be a problem. And the easiest way I can see to do that is going to be Blackluster Soldier. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and into battle. We'll use Blackluster Soldier's effect. We'll banish a card on field, being Baron to floor. Then we'll go ahead and hit them with Flare Metal. Now we did give them a lot of cards, but we were able to play through a pretty negate heavy board. They will burn for that, even though they want to keep that cross out of my hand. Now, personally, I know super heavy requires a lot of effects to go off to build a board, and they have a timer. They have 1 more effect to go off, so they cannot trigger another effect or they will lose. And as such, there's nothing they can do. Okay. This turn, I'm going first. I did draw Fulos, but it's not going to help me at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the rest of my line. So Raidsoth will get me a Kashtira into hand, which if you get a Kashtira, you always want to summon first because they special summon for free when the board is empty. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It'll also bait Ash. They did not have it. We'll get Unicorn to hand. I will special summon Unicorn. Look for an Imperm by searching out Birth, because we already have Kashtira Theosis. Otherwise, I would search Kashtira Theosis here. Theosis will lock you into Xyz, so I need to go ahead and go into my Link plan with the Red-Eyes line before I do so. So, Striker Dragon package, very typical Red-Eyes. We're going to go ahead and bring Darkness Metal to hand. Banish Striker Dragon, summon Darkness Metal back. Activate Darkness Metal, summon Black Metal. Here we're going to go ahead and make our Hieratic Seal. Now, this is one key moment that you're going to run into. So, and this is why I made the Magnamut change. I want Full Metal. But to summon Full Metal, I have to have a dragon on field. This current board will not end with a level 5 or higher dragon. The only way I can do that is if I summon one off Hieratic Seal, which I plan to do next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and use Full Metal, set max Metalmorph, shuffle it back. Now I'm fully unleashed to go into the Kashtira line. We'll use Theosis to summon Fenrir. We're going to activate Fenrir's effect, and we're going to add to hand Riseheart. I'm going to activate Riseheart's effect. We're locked into Xyz at this point, so it doesn't matter. We can go all in. We're going to use its effect to banish Birth. Then we're going to go ahead and get into some of our other interruption pieces. So Shangri-Ira will allow me to lock a bit of their field. Also, I'm going to be able to make one more Xyz with this lineup, so I can make a burn card, which is likely going to be the best target. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first here, just in case they have anything to interrupt me with. Alright, summon that. Now we're going to go ahead and activate Kashtira Birth. And you see in Grave, I have a Theosis and there's another Birth in Banish. So I'm going to go ahead and activate this, summon it, Banish, activate, add to hand. Now Birth would be even better here if I had another Kashtira in Grave. This hand did not end with me getting one there, so I'm going to have to play in a slightly different way, but that's okay. Okay. From this point, I have a Birth for follow-up in case they blow this one up, and I have a Fuelos in case they blow me out as well. End turn. Activate Shangri-Ira. Also baiting any interruption, we're going to summon a Fenrir in defense. Raidsoth will trigger at this point. I can go ahead and trigger it off Shangri-Ira, or I can wait. I'm going to wait. They summoned a Sangan. Sangan will search. They search for Magician Souls. I'm going to go ahead and activate Fenrir here and banish that Almirage. Then I'll activate Shangri-Ira, banish the zone. They're about to move to the next phase. Just in case they have anything like a evenly matched, I want to be able to stop that. So I'm going to go ahead and use Hieratic Seal. I'm going to tribute itself. And I can return a card to hand. So what I'm going to do, I've already been able to use some of these effects. I'm going to go ahead and just bounce that Fenrir back to my hand. I will then go ahead and special summon. I could do Magnamut, but I want to go ahead and get Red-Eyes Black Dragon engraved so I can trigger Flare Metal to extend. So I'm going to summon Red-Eyes. It's a 0/0, but that doesn't matter. The field spell is boosting it. I'll tribute it, summon Full Metal, and equip. Now I have a Negate in case they try to evenly match me. Okay. They did not have anything. Ironically, I drew into Magnamut. Shangri-Ira's effect will activate. They had a Solemn Strike. We will use Shangri-Ira's effect to detach and avoid destruction. They also have to burn as punishment for that. And we'll go ahead and use Flare Metal to detach a Unicorn and summon a Red-Eyes to the field. Alright. At this point, we have our Unicorn and we have our Fenrir available to us. So we're going to go ahead and summon Fenrir back out. We'll add Red-Eyes Kashtira to hand. I'm going to go ahead and make our lovely friend Doom Rider here. And we're just going to go all in, summoning as much as we can. Activate effect. Pretty sure I know what they're playing. I see. So they are playing a Dragoon Turbo deck. That is fine. We're going to go ahead and use Volfernage's effect. So it has a few options. I can destroy their card, buffing a card on my field, or I can destroy Volfernage's itself, which can attack to buff it based on that rank 7. So I'm going to do so. In response, I'm going to go ahead and activate Flare Metal, detaching Fenrir, and I will summon my Red-Eyes Black Dragon. I will give Red-Eyes Black Dragon the attack, making it 4,800, something Kaiba would only dream of. We're going to move Shangri-Ira into attack, and we're going to go ahead and close out this game. Okay, here we're going second. They're playing Altergeist, which is an older deck. Can be a bit worrisome, but the key thing is you need to interact with it before it gets too bad. They did start with Secret Village of the Spellcasters, which means if only they control a Spellcaster monster, I cannot activate spell cards, which is extremely frustrating to deal with. I'm going to go ahead and start with Kashtira Unicorn. They have a Solemn Strike. Now they're going to Special Summon, completely fine. I will again Special Summon Kashtira Unicorn. I'm going to activate Kashtira Unicorn. They Imperm. We're going to go ahead and move into the battle phase. I'm going to attack into Silquidus, which means they are going to have to trigger Link Karibo. Main phase 2. They do have a bounce to hand, but their deck isn't going to be able to put a huge amount of DPS on board, and I know this, so I'm going to pass on Unicorn, knowing I can summon it next turn and do it again without Imperm. They were quite lucky to get 2 Extravagance, so they've gotten a thick grip of cards. Tons of searching. Okay, so Hextia is one of their bosses. So on this board, they have a Battle Fog with Link Karibo, they have a Bounce with Silquidus, and Hextia, when a spell trap or effect is activated, you contribute an Altergeist, negate the activation. So that is Spell Trap Negate, which ironically they're already covering with Secret Village, so we're going to have to play around it a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and use Kashtira Unicorn. Now this down here, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can send an Altergeist to the grave, negate it, destroy it. I'm going to try to bait that. I'm going to summon Black Metal. I'm going to link Black Metal using Striker. So they either have to negate this or negate Unicorn. Let's see what they choose. They choose that. Fair enough. Alright, I will go ahead. Alright, they happen to draw into Ash. I will use Unicorn then. Banish the last card in their extra deck. Now we're going to go ahead and enter battle, do some damage. I'm going to force them to Fog with Link Karibo here. Now, we're going to remove this card, so they no longer have the ability to stop me from using spells. I'll go to main 2. I have SP Little Knight as a target here, so I'm going to go ahead and link into SP Little Knight. Activate its effect. I'm going to banish their field spell. Now I'm unlocked. We'll use 1 for 1. I'll send Black Metal Dragon to grave. I'm going to summon Metal Illusionist here. We're going to make it a dragon. I will set Max Metal Morph, and we'll end the turn. In their draw step, I'm going to immediately tribute it, summoning Full Metal. Now I have my own Omni. We're going to remove their link. They attempt to negate it. I force the negate here. One key thing I just forgot is Altergeist prevents their cards from being negated. So I will not be able to stop Altergeist specific cards. Alright. Red-Eyes Kashtira. And I believe, let's see, on the field can't be negated, so I can negate the one in grave. And I will burn them for their big one. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and enter battle. Remove their big defender. We still have an uphill journey to finish this. That is not what we want to see here. So I could negate here, but if I do, they have access to be able to negate me through their trap, which would lead to the destruction of Full Metal. It would remove their card because, unfortunately, Max Metal Morph, it does give destruction protection, but only from monster effects and spell cards or effects. So since this is a trap deck, I actually will get around it, so I need to consider that, and I'm just really just gonna have to let this go through. Altergeist can be a pretty annoying deck, but it looks like here they forgot that they didn't have any cards in extra deck and they left something in attack, so it's gonna be a pretty easy kill for us. Either way, we had them on the run, so we would have gotten them in a few turns. Okay, here we're going against Sword Soul. I do have some interruption here. I think I'm going to go ahead and start now. I'll banish that. I'm going to try to get a search into my hand is what would be ideal here. Okay, got them to blow their ash. That's wonderful. Sword Soul is a deck that's known to plus extremely high off of just one card. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and use Rate Sauce to try to get a search. Alright, we'll go ahead and add a Unicorn to our hand at this point. Now, let's try to get Black Metal working for us. We know one of those set cards is their Blackout Trap. So, if you haven't run into it before, Blackout, you target a worm you control and 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them, which is very annoying. They have a worm, and also for this one, let's see, it will cost them their Chickshaw, but they'll get to remove 2 of my cards, which is a problem. Alright, they're using Called by the Grave. I will use Crossout. And I will cross out their Called by. We do not need anything limiting us here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get Darkness Metal. We want to go wide in this situation. There goes the Negate. Okay. They did use a monster effect, so I'm going to go ahead and thrust here. and we're going to force them to do something. We're going to add it to hand, and I'm going to remove their Chick-Chow unless they use their effect now. They did not, so they are now locked out, which is great for me. We're gonna ditch the unicorn lineup, bring out another black metal. Let's see, our damage on board. We have enough. I do need to be careful. We're gonna try it and see how we go. And of course, what duelist would we be if we didn't kill them with their own card? Red-Eyes Kashtira is definitely one of my favorite builds, and the deck plays like a toolbox where you have tons of ways to deal with almost any problem. You just have to be smart about that resource management. Also, Kashtira has great recovery, so I can use that when all else fails to rebuild from almost nothing. I encourage you guys to try this deck out and let me know what you think in the comments. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time.